In Pemberton Junction, in the coal camp of Pemberton. Okay, I'm having trouble saying the name. I'm trying not to butcher the name of the town. There's been no trains on this track lately. About 2 years ago, CSX done a lot of extensive repair work on this stretch of track and started running trains through here again. Looks to me like now they're not running trains through here. I just missed the train on the Norfolk Southern track there in that rail yard. I could tell by the crossing up the road that the train went by. Because there is a coal mine there, so that stretch from the rail yard on is still pretty active. Because the Norfolk Southern will back coal trains up there, loading up coal, back them up there, and they'll take the engines off, and we'll go up to just about where I'm standing from time to time, but then they stop back up and go on. It says Norfolk Southern main limits, yard limits. Maintain, I guess that's how I say maintain yard limits. So the trains, this is the farthest the trains go nowadays, is right about here. They're not supposed to go past the sign. So all that over there is abandoned. Those two over that way is abandoned. And this over here I thought was still being used occasionally. But apparently not. I guess CSX quit running trains up here again. But because both railroad companies used the Pemberton mine, but you could tell right here where the trains have been. You can actually tell that they see occasionally. Then back that way, you can tell it's been nothing. But there's another railroad saying before. Hey, Railroad 82, if you watch this video, I found another railroad saying before. I think I remember coming here about 2 or 3 years ago. It's been a couple years since I've been here, and I want to come and film again. But apparently I did miss the train going down the other line, but not by much. So that means if I knew they were coming, I could have came here sooner. But here's the difference there. You can tell this track is somewhat shiny, but not a lot. And you can tell this is super rusty. I'm gonna go down the other track, and go down that old wooden bridge. I do remember when that was still being used, because in the mid-90s they still ran a train up that line all the way to the very end. Yep. But I'm not going to go very far. Don't know if any trains are coming or not. Because this stretch is the active yard. I don't think that mine's doing good though. It's interesting because they go as far as that sign. Basically what they do is they load the coal trains. They'll first trains up coal at the mine, take the engines off the trains, do some switching moves to pull the engines back to the other side of the train to actually take it back down the line to Mullins, because this line goes all the way to Mullins. If you go the way I'm walking, you eventually come out Mullins, and there's a huge rail yard of Mullins. You go the opposite direction, you eventually come out at Prince. You eventually come out next to a train station at Prince. What's farther down from here, the line from here, that one stretch in the Coal Camper Valley, now that is still active there if you go through the Coal Camper Valley. That stretch is still pretty active because there's 3 mines going there. Still going that area. Okay, it's not, I don't know, I'm going to go the other way because I was trying to tell what that sign says. Norfolk Southern. Oh, it's another, so basically it says the same thing this one up here says. Yeah, it's starting to rain again. It's only 42 degrees out here, 43 degrees, something like that. It's cold. Almost snow weather. A little bit colder, probably colder, it'd be snowy. If the temperatures drop just another 2 or 3 degrees, another 4 degrees, it might start getting a wintry mix, because usually it gets this cold, when it gets to 40 or below degrees or below, you start seeing like a wintry mix, like a rain-snow mix. It gets down to mid-30s, it's like a rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain. By the time it gets down to 32, 33, you can get some good snow. We're not getting snow yet, but we will be soon. Can't think of, as at the time I'm filming this video, which is October 26th, by the way, is the date that I'm filming the video. I think it's the 26th. I just got back from my 2 or 3 day section hike on the Appalachian Trail, which is a lot of fun, by the way. But I will be doing more trips like that come springtime. But I want to film this rail diamond. Now, before I go to the rail diamond, I'll walk over to that trestle, this wooden trestle. You just don't see many things like this. I just know CSX spent a fortune rebuilding this line. A lot down the road here. There's like a bunch of old school wooden trestles that they completely replaced with steel and concrete. There's like a bunch of them down there, and then they quit using this stretch of the track because this is the CSX line that I'm on now, and over there's the Norfolk Southern line. Because CSX goes this way, which was originally Chesapeake, Ohio. Both of these are fallen flag railroads, by the way. This is built by Chesapeake, Ohio, which is now CSX, came part of the Chesapeake system when Chesapeake, Ohio and Seaboard Airline merged companies. It became Chesapeake system, and then it became CSX. I don't think Seaboard ever came up to West Virginia. Now, some of the trackers in Virginia, which is the next state over, I think Seaboard Airline had a lot of rail lines here that they own. But this is why I like this old rail diamond. Now, this is a cool find. You just don't see that anymore around here. Well, not in this area anyways. There's also, you know what, that railroad car box is still there. I'll come back here in better weather conditions and do a better video. But I think there's a railroad car box there somewhere. I just don't feel like fighting through the brush in the rain. But that's the Norfolk Southern, which is the other fallen flag railroad, because this was built by the Virginia Pacific Railroad right through here, which the Virginia Pacific became Norfolk Southern. Although I think this is called Nile River Railroad, I think owns this now. Even though the sign still says Norfolk Southern, this stretch, all the trackers here in West Virginia, I think most of what Norfolk Southern owned here in West Virginia became part of Canal River Railroad. But can you imagine what it would be like back in the day when all these tracks was used? It would be amazing to sit here and watch trains go by all the time. Actually, there's been something on this track, actually, maybe there has been something in this track. I can tell the difference. That's years and years of rust. That's probably a couple months of rust. So maybe there has been something on this line at some point. I don't know. I just know I'm gonna hurry up because it's getting colder out here. It feels like the temperatures are dropping. I want to get sick of being out in this rain. It's just some cold weather. A couple of weeks ago, it was hot out here. It was getting a lot of 80s. But there's the Pate Over Railroad crossing. There's a bridge up there and a tunnel up there too, which I'll do better videos in the future. But I'm going to zoom in and look at the semaphore in the rail yard. Wasn't that long ago, and there was a train on the other track though that went through Sophia, so I don't know how long ago it has been. Probably be a waste of time to try to chase it down the line and catch up with it at Mullins, because that's a 2-lane road that goes up over the mountains to come down through a couple old coal mine towns. It might be halfway to Mullins by now, so not worth the trip this time. Now it was a beautiful sunny day, and not raining and cold, miserably cold like this, I would do it. But I'm going to end the video.